everybody in the room today. My name is Palisa Lehasa, and I am with Lerato Pizzi, who will be joined tonight also by Dr. Chong. We are, of course, today doing our open mic session. Before we start with our session, let's get the our ground rules. Because we are using Google Meet, let's ensure that we are all on mute and that at the end of the session, you will have there will be a chance for you to have any questions that you may want to pose. You will be welcome to type in the chat box, or you can obviously unmute yourself, and we will give you a chance to have something to say. Now, right now, I would like for you to, in the chat box, let us know where you are joining us from. We would really love to know that. We are going to be covering, of course, Lumi, NetFam, your experiences, and of course, streamlining the Swiffen platform. We're going to be talking also about how you can now start being coached and to coach other people, so it's going to be a very exciting session this evening. Let me just check in the chat box. Okay, we've got Andy. Andy's from Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome, welcome. And then we've got Ama, or is it Ame Benedict from Nigeria? I see you. Timothy from Nigeria. Hello. Mapabalo from Lesotho. Good evening, everybody. Good day. We're just about to start our session. Susan from Lesotho, welcome, welcome everybody. We see you. I hope you're just as excited as I am tonight. I'm going to be handing over now to Lerato, who is going to be doing her remarks on the database that we are planning to compile. So over to you, Lerato.
All right. Thank you so much, Palisa. Good evening, everyone. Good day. Um, good afternoon from wherever you are joining us from. Thank you so much for making the time. We do appreciate it. I think I'm going to be touching base on the initiative that we are starting on building a database. And I think I hinted on this in one of our previous sessions. And in our previous session, I mentioned that if you are looking to procure any products or services, to buy any products or services using your Lumi, uh, this is an opportunity for you to let us know what products, what services, which area you are in. To let us know what those things are, and you can reach out to us on the email that is displayed on the screen, and that is lumiforafricans@gmail.com. And this is part of the initiative that we have around building of data ecosystems. So we are building ecosystems, and we want to build local ecosystems. And this is not just for people who are looking to buy services. This is also for people who are looking to sell services and products. So this is an opportunity for you. Let us know what are you selling, what product, what service it is. How are you doing part Lumi or full Lumi, or whatever your business strategy is around starting to accept the Lumi for your products and services. So reach out to us on the Lumi for Africans at gmail.com email address, and we will be putting together that database. And I think over and above that, we are looking to say collecting uh, a database of all the people in our respective nations who are use or who have acquired the Lumi, whether through this stimulus packages that are currently being offered. So effectively, everybody would know that right now in the world, uh, personal information is a thing that is really being watched. So it means if you are going to be starting to build together a database, we need to have consent from the people that you are getting this information from. So if you're going to take Lerato's information, for example, and this is personal identifiable information, which is my email address, my age, my uh, the area where I live, and stuff like that. So you need to have consent from me to actually have that information and to process it and use it according to. In South Africa, there's a POPIA Act. In the UK, I think they have GDPR, and that applies across many states and nations across the world. So, effectively, collecting this information for the databases is quite important. And I just think maybe just to pause and take a step back here and say, we believe that everybody that is coming on these calls that we are hosting, you are leaders in your own right, whether you are a leader of yourself and your family, or whether you are a leader in your community, in your nation. So, effectively, over and above you being here, there is possibly people that you have recruited who are your downlines um, in this whole digital currency revolution. So we are then saying to you as leaders, you need to reach out to your people, the people that you have recruited, and collect a database or start building a database of the people that you have under you, and also the people that you have in your nation. So this is basically a database of all the people that have the Lumi in your nation, in your community, in your area, in your region. And of course, being aware that you need to also make sure that all these people give consent to you having this information. So the objective for this list is that we want to have a list of all registered people who have the Lumi in your nations by location, whether it is province, whether it is your parish, your community, however that works. And this will make it easy for communication purposes. And we are not saying give that list to us necessarily. We are saying once you have this database, you are compiling as a leader, compile this database. And when we have communication, then you can be able to reach out to the people that are in your area, in your country, in your region accordingly, and be able to be a dissipator for information, because we are all leaders in our own rights, as I previously mentioned. And over and above, the ease of communication, would like to establish small ecosystems among families and communities. So that is the purpose that we are building this databases. And I think over and above, I have mentioned around the products and services that people are looking to acquire and sell. I think at this point, I will stop here and say, reach out to us on the Lumi for Africans at gmail.com email address. And we can then be able to start compiling. So we will need information that pertains to your name, your email address, your gender, your age group, your telephone number for SMS or WhatsApp, and over and above, if your areas of interest, which means your um, products and services that you are looking to acquire or to sell. And with that information, we will be reaching out to you, the people who are leaders. And this is a good segue to hand over to Dr. Chong to actually speak about what we are trying to do in streamlining our processes and communication in terms of training people to be coaches in their regions, so that the information that people get is quality information and they have the whole plethora of information, not just a snippet bit. So, on that note, reach out to us. I will put in the chat while the next speaker talks the detail that we are looking for in terms of compiling this database. All right. Thank you so much. Over to you, Balisa.
Thank you, Lerato, for that informative session. Thank you. We are going to be handing over to Dr. Chong, who is going to be taking us through the coaches program and how it is going to be rolling out and what is expected, how it's going to work. So, in 10 minutes, Dr. Chong, over to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry to have come on a little late, so I did not hear the introduction, so I don't know what has been covered. But I assume that right now I'm to talk about the coaches, the coach program, right? So
Yes, yes.
thank you so much. Okay, thank you for being here, everyone. I know I invited a lot of extra people who are not normally on our sessions, and I think that I see some of them in the list of persons who are on this. Welcome, welcome, everybody, and thank you for coming. Now, I would like you to all put your, did you ask for their contacts? Put your name and the contact information that we will need to get back to you as leaders who were on this program so that we can start building our leadership database. We need that information just for the leaders. We don't need the information for the people who are in your networks so that we can communicate with you and then you communicate with them. So we're going to look first at the different programs and then we're going to look at means of communication. The first thing is the coach. Every person who registers for the Lumi must go through the coaches program. The coaches program is the same program that you will be oriented with when you are being registered so that you will be able to register anybody else as an individual, as a business person, as a merchant, and as an agency. I'm mentioning this at the beginning because I find that a lot of persons are changing their registration from individual to business or individual to merchant or individual to agency. I am suggesting that everybody register as an individual. That gives you access to your stimulus every month of 6.26 Lumis until September 2023. Now, if you, as an individual, you can register people under you and you can also advertise personal items for sale as an individual. If you have a business, then you can also register as a business and you'll get the same stimulus every month for your business. If you have registered as a merchant, now for a business registration, you need your information, business registration information. As a merchant, if you are selling and buying things or you are distributing stuff, then you can also register as a merchant. And if you are handling groups of people where you are building a network, then you can also register as an agency. The agent is really someone who handles large networks of people, and it's like they are an agent of the Swifin platform. So that is the four criteria for the four different things. And you can register for all four. The only thing is that you must have a different phone number and email for each of the 4 registrations. I want to put that at the beginning so that people see that there are no restrictions about registering for all 4. So you are registered as an individual. We are going to coach everybody to be coaches. But those who have already registered for the Lumi and were not trained, you need to get all of those persons to come in to be trained. Now, you can either come to the training, learn it, and then pass it on to your network, or you can invite them to come to the training if they so desire. We want to make all information available to everybody. Everybody can have a network. There are just enough people in the world to be able to accommodate all the persons who come on the first leg as coaches. So, first of all, the coach needs to learn how to register somebody for the Lumi. And next Thursday, we are actually going to ask you to come on and we will show you. You come on with somebody that you're registering if you have already been registered, or invite people who have never been registered to come on our call on Thursday. So you'll be going through it step by step and having people register on while we are on the session. So that's very, very important to invite people. So the first thing is to register on the Swifting platform. I want you to keep going on the Swifting platform in your spare time just to browse, because of the fact that it keeps upgrading. And 2 of the things that have been removed from the registration process are the questions. I think it might have been 18 and 19 that say, who referred you to this? How did you hear about this? And who referred you to this Swifting platform? Those 2 have been removed. And the only question about referral is for you to fill in the ID number of the person who referred you. And if you are filling out the form for somebody who you are helping to register, then you put your number there. As soon as somebody gets their ID number, they are free to use that ID number and register other persons, build their own networks. So the first thing is registration for the Lumi. But before you register anybody for the Lumi, you need to acquaint them with, 1, what is the Lumi? Why do we have the Lumi? When are you going to be able to use the Lumi? Where are you going to be able to use the Lumi? And how will we do the ecosystems where the Lumi will be used? If you do not do that, then you'll create the present confusion that exists for persons who keep asking, where can I change the Lumi? So we start with, what is the Lumi? The Lumi is a currency that has been adapted for all persons of African descent on the continent and off the continent of Africa. This Lumi just happens to be the only classic currency on earth, because all the other currencies that used to be backed by something tangible like gold and so on have lost their backing or dropped their backing because they did not have enough gold. And so Lumi is the only currency that is now fully pegged to gold. I wouldn't say backed by gold, but pegged to gold in terms of its value. And so the value of gold on the marketplace, the world marketplace, is how we determine the value of one Lumi. And so the value of gold is, in terms of US dollars, is 15.96 US dollars is the cost of the 4 grains of gold. That is the value of one Lumi. So that is the exchange rate. It does not mean that it should be exchanged, because we just are giving you that information for you to understand the value of the Lumi. So that is what is the Lumi. The Lumi was originally engineered by King Timothy McPherson for the Maroons across the world, but specifically starting a compound Jamaica. Now, that was done long before Echo 6 and long before SOAD. That's the state of the African diaspora. However, we were basically waiting on the AU, that's the African Union, that had plans to develop a African currency. It was called eco currency. And that process has been in place for about 30 odd years. And every time it's about to come out, there is a hitch, and they have been asked to postpone it. The last hitch was somewhere in 2018. And it was at that time that we realized that if we wanted to have a currency, then we could not wait on that one. And so we investigated other strong currencies and decided to adapt the Lumi, which was already in place. That was, we did a round robin with all the African kingdoms, and they agreed to adapt the Lumi as the African kingdom's Lumi. So it wasn't made for SOAD. It was engineered long before SOAD and adapted back, and as you know, it is pegged to the energy from the sun. Okay, so I think that hopefully will clear up the what is the Lumi. Now, why the Lumi? Because we need to have a currency that we control in order to control our trading. And one of the things we need to understand about the value of the Lumi, if we exchange it for any other currency, we are devaluing the Lumi, because what we will get for in exchange for it will not be worth what the Lumi is worth. And so this is why we discourage persons from changing it, because just like how other countries have come in and devalued your money, all of you live in countries that your money has been devalued in. When I was a child, our Jamaican dollar was worth $2. One Jamaican dollar, $2. This is in 1960 around. And when the different currencies started to trade with us and started to pin our money against theirs, they started to devalue it. They just started to, should I say, artificially devalue our money. And so right now, $1, we have to pay 155. And I know I'm speaking to people paying 200 and odd and 500 and odd, when their dollar was 1-to-1 way back when. Now, this is the problem. Once we change our money into somebody else's money, it's going to devalue. However, if we start using it parallel to, along with the local currencies, then eventually the Lumi will be able to revalue the local currencies. So this is the advantage to the people the in the different countries with devalued money. This is the advantage of getting their officials to agree, because that will only mean that over time, using them parallel, we will be able to revalue the local currencies. So that's why we need to keep the Lumi in Lumi and utilize it. Now, when? When? No, let's start with where. Where can we use the Lumi? We can use the Lumi to exchange and buy and sell goods from anybody who has Lumi and will take Lumi. And that does not mean total Lumi. It can mean 10% Lumi, 15, 20, 75, or total Lumi. But once somebody will take a portion of Lumi, then that is where we trade. We do not use the Lumi to trade or exchange for fiat or for any other goods. Only with those who have Lumi. Okay, that's where. When we have to develop ecosystems, economic systems, where we exchange Lumi for Lumi. Now, that is where our challenge comes, because while our officials of government are working on the large ecosystems where we can trade among countries, we cannot wait until that is in place to use our Lumi. We need to develop our own ecosystems at the primary, secondary, tertiary level within our families and our communities in order to start using our Lumis now. So those who have started doing this have developed them in this way. One, anything that I have that I would like to exchange with somebody else, and this is not with goods that you are making, but things that you already have in place, and you would like to either exchange them, get rid of them, we are suggesting that you start practicing to use the Lumi with those items, whether they are pre-owned furniture, clothing, whatever it is. We are recommending that you start using your Lumi to do that, because that will prevent you from having to use your fiat once you are trading with somebody who has Lumis. So this is why the ecosystems have to be developed. We have to have, first of all, a database of the people who have Lumi. And then within that database, you need to develop each area. Each leader needs to develop within their grouping, what do people need to buy? What do people have to sell? So that right away we have a ready exchange. Now, what has happened is that most persons who have the Lumi are just consumers. And so they are not producing anything. Consequently, they have nothing to sell. And that is why it is important to understand that the next step has to be getting registered or getting connected with the scholarship program that is offered by SOAD to teach each person who has Lumi how to become a producer of something, anything. But have when you have something to sell, then you have economic power and you now have the capacity to buy. Because you have something to sell, you get Lumi and you use the same Lumi to buy what you want. So that's what the ecosystem is about. But you can, if you are one-sided in the ecosystem where you are only selling stuff, then it means that you are benefiting, but the other person is not benefiting. And the Lumi is to bring a certain equity to every person who holds it. So if you are only using your Lumi to buy stuff, then eventually your Lumi will run out. But if you are producing something that you can sell in Lumi, then we will have fair exchange of Lumi. Always try to sell more than you are buying in Lumi. Well, that is my program. So my Lumi is always increasing. And that is the best way to get a proper return on your investment of Lumi. End of story. So we have what is Lumi, where, how. We haven't done how. How is building the ecosystems we're going to talk about now. But what, where, why, when. We are not to spend the Lumi until we have the ecosystem there. So initially, until the officials are getting the arrangements together for the larger systems, we have to build our smaller systems. How do we build our smaller systems? First of all, we get involved in any kind of activity that will make us producers. And we have a course that helps you to do that. That course teaches you how to come into optimal health and then start at the process of becoming a producer. In this case, we are starting with producing things from the earth without having to put any financial inputs out. No loans, no grants, just using what you already have. What do you have in your hand? That's the first way we can develop our ecosystems. And that is not just for buying and selling, because if you plant stuff and you sell them fresh, then you are not really covering your expenses until you start to move into value added products, which will now give you a good return on your investment. But that is a topic of another session. So another way to improve and get your ecosystems running is to approach your present suppliers of whatever food, shelter, and clothing and necessities that you have, and ask if they will register for the Lumi and take a percentage of their funds in Lumi. Now, another thing you can do is tell them that they qualify for a no interest loan of 10,000 US dollars equivalent in Lumi. And so if they would like to get that loan and use it almost like their working capital for the Lumi people, they may do that. So it means that they would also have to ask their suppliers for a percentage of the goods in Lumi. That is one possibility. But if your person who you normally get stuff from is not willing to do that, then within your ecosystem, you identify people who will start distributing those very items that you need on a daily basis within the group. And that does not mean that you are going to get these things in full Lumi. If you are going to pay $100, let's just use that for this item at your corner shop or wherever you buy it from, then you're still going to pay the same amount for it within your own ecosystem. However, the person distributing to you will buy it from the importer or the wholesaler and give you a percentage of the markup in Lumi. So if the markup is $20, if they buy it for $80, they're still sending to you for $100. But instead of you're paying $100 in fiat, you'll be paying $90 in fiat and $10 in Lumi. So that they are getting their money to go back to market and they are making a profit of $10. That we will go in more detail at another session. But this is how we develop our own ecosystems. So when you are registering somebody, you need to not give them that detail. I'm giving it for your background, but you need to tell them that the Lumi is spendable when we have developed our internal ecosystems, so that they will now be willing to work at developing these systems. And the first thing that we're doing here in developing those systems is our seed gardens, which are going to be the what should I say, the investment for building our food forest and for sustaining our food supply. That is going to be dealt with at our Monday classes. So please look out and register for the Monday classes so that you can get that information, how to build your own seed garden, every person who has Lumi, so that you can be a part of the building of those ecosystems. So where, when, how, why the Lumi? Once the person is registered for the Lumi, then the next step is registration for the NatFam. Now, if their registration has not gone through, they still can attend the classes, the workshops. So whether they are registered or not, we need to get them attending, give them the opportunity to attend the workshops. Now, what has been happening with the workshops is that the attendance has been relatively low because of data. And this is where the whole structure comes in. And this is why we want you to get your own databases. Each person on this call and anyone who wants to have a group that they're going to assist, they need to get a system of communication, preferably face-to-face, and have times of meeting where they come on this call or come on the training that we have on Mondays or anything that persons are not able to get data for. And they meet at that same time and share the information. So if you are on this call and you do this call along with a group of 250 people, whatever your ceiling is under these present circumstances of how many can gather, you get your whole group together so that when we are training or passing on information, then it is being done through your data, but everybody has opportunity. So whether you need a projector or whatever device, you need to look at how you're going to put that together. but we are trying to get the information to large groups in place who are physically meeting, or else how can you assist them in getting data? Because that seems to be one of the major challenges that persons find. And it's not just having data. Sometimes the networks are down. Sometimes there are other issues of communication. So it is one, register for the Lumi. Two, register for the NatFam. If your account is not active, you can still join the NatFam training classes, which are on a Monday. If it is that your wider network is not able to access data, then you can either do the recording and meet with them later to transmit it. But I think it's far easier to let them gather at the time of the session so that it's one use of data for you to transmit, listen to it, learn, transmit at the same time that we are actually doing the teaching. Because it's every Monday for 28 Mondays. We have already gone through 6, and we are doing the 7th in 2 days' time on Monday. The link should be out today. So register for the Lumi, register for the NatFam. Whether your registration goes through or not, come to the NatFam training, because you will be empowered to be able to become a producer, an entrepreneur, regardless of, and I say from 1 to 120, right? That's the age group to become an entrepreneur. It's not just for adults, it's for everybody. And so I already have families who have assigned their own the different plots to all the different children in the family, regardless of age. Everybody, they don't have to be able to walk to plant a seed. You just take their finger and put the seed in the hole, and that is their little plot. And so we want every single solitary person who owns the Lumi to start seed gardens. The reason for this is that these seed gardens are what will repopulate the dry areas or the nuded areas in your area. And we have formulas and processes to reforest every area, including all the desert areas, right? And we have methodologies for bringing back the water table, bringing back the vegetation. So don't look until you have bad soil, because we will show you how to turn whatever dry areas you have in your community and eventually your nation into an oasis. And I already have several videos to send out to show you exactly how to do it. But we have to take step 1 first, then step 2, and then step 3. So,
Sorry to interject, Dr.
yes,
Chong. Just looking at the
Christian,
time now. Could you
yes,
use 2 minutes to wrap up so that we can be able to have a Q&A session before we close at 8?
correct. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so register for the Lumi, register for the NatFam, attend the meetings, get your groups together so that you can be transmitting the information to them, and then developing your ecosystems within your small groups, your wider groups, your bigger groups. And then after, the whole idea is that when those are running, then you will starting to produce so that you can be a part of the whole system, and you won't be depleting your Lumi. You'll be getting in Lumi and you'll be paying out Lumi. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chong. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to our Q&A session, where you have the opportunity right now to ask any question that you may have. or anything that you need clarity on, this is your opportunity. You may unmute yourself. We will give you a chance to speak. Otherwise, you can use the chat box to type your questions. If you're using a cell phone, you go to the menu, you click on the three horizontal dots, and then you will click there where it says in call messages, and then you'll come across the chat box there. We can type your questions. I just want to have a look at the chat box now if we've got anything, any questions. Okay, we've welcomed everybody, and Lerato just posted what we need when you send in your email for the database that we are compiling on people, on what you want to buy or what you want to sell, right? So that is the information that you will have to put in your email, and the email is lumi for Africans at gmail.com. Now, we've got that opportunity at 8. We will be closing our session. If there are any questions, this is your chance to do so, so that we can be able to get you all cleared up and set on this Lumi journey, and of course, empowering yourself through the NetFam program as well, while we were still waiting for those questions. If I may just summarize what we have been talking about today while we're still waiting for those questions to come in. We have spoken briefly about the coaching and the database that we are compiling and coaching the coaches. So you as a leader being in this room right now, you are being coached to go and coach other people, teach them the right way. What is Lumi, how it works, why Lumi, when can we use it, just as Dr. Chong has been explaining to us now. We are waiting for those questions. If you have any question, you are more than welcome now to um, unmute yourself, and we can be able to give you opportunity to speak. Debbie, do you want to say
Yes,
something?
yes,
Okay.
Miss. Yes, I'm Debbie and Louis from Lancaster, Manchester, Jamaica. I've just joined, and I, Miss Graham had done. Devon had registered me, but I don't know if she fully through the process. But anyway, I'm interested to join. I'm now a person that have colon cancer attached a cholesterol bag, but I said I'm interested in the program because I like to deal with entrepreneur. I also interested my area that I went to Hartrust earlier. I only have level 1 in certificate in food preparation, so I really want to know how to really deal with the entrepreneur in the meantime. So I'm not going to put in myself that I'm down, I sick, I cannot do nothing. So I will get my family, my mother and my teenager nephew and so forth to help me produce the seeds them, because right now I have quite a few seeds put up that I need to. For Monday I will join that class now, and you will tell me how I will deal with the seeds them and so forth. So I'm still interested because at the end of the day, I want to produce the products, I plant them, and so that I can also become a merchant, my own entrepreneur, because I always interested in having my own business. So even though I am sick and I'm in pain, but I'm still not going to let that get me down for me to really pursue my opportunities that I need to. So I really thanks for the opportunity. That it's sound great and it's going to be a big help to me. Like how I'm interested in the entrepreneur part of it.
Okay.
And
Thank
Dr. Chong tell me how I will take care of my health. So he said she's promised to tell me how I will produce also how for me to take care of the so my main part now is that I want to know how to take care of it, because they want to give me the radio and the chemo and I'm not interested in that part. So I really would have need what's quite a few food stuff that can help me to shrink the cancer tumor without I have to do that chemo and that radiation, because I get to understand that thing kill the good cells and the bad cells of your body. So it is not good
Okay.
for me.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie. Dr. Chong, with 2 minutes, can you just explain the process in which Debbie can take to join the NetFam program?
Yeah, okay. Anybody who wants to join that program, um, just you have to wait until your account is active to join it online. But on Mondays
Sorry,
after,
Dr. Chong.
yes,
Debbie, please mute yourself. There's an echo coming from your side.
okay, to join the NatFam program, I'm going to be um helping people to do all the joinings. Register for Lumi, register for NatFam on a Monday after our training. So I will give my link that you can do that there. Right. But if you are not able to register because your account is not active, it does not make any difference. I will still allow you to join the Monday meeting. So that is how you get into the NatFam program. Just come on, anybody, with or without registration. I'm opening this to everybody, whether they have started to register or they're not interested in registering. The course, the workshops are open to everybody. When you register for the NatFam, you get the material, all training material. So that is very, very important for you to get. Just come on a Monday. Come on a Monday. It will be posted in this link every Monday, 9 to 10:30 in Jamaica, and I think that is two, 2 to 3 in different areas. Loretta, can you tell
Yep.
what time it is down your side?
Um, in South Africa, it is 1600 hours. So that's South Africa Standard Time. So you can then convert from there. We are GMT plus two.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Um, we have another question in the chat. Benjamin, I've seen you. I will come back to you. I just want to address this question in the chat box. Um, it is Fikile. Okay, Fikile, this is Bandile. I would like to get a clear understanding. The fiat exchange procedures. I'm not sure if I understand your question properly, Bandile, but I'm thinking you're asking if you've got Lumi, how do you change it to your local currency? If I'm correct, that is, if that's your question, I'm going to answer it in this way. Our vision or the vision of us collecting Lumis is to use it in Lumi. Now, at the present moment, uh, in the on the Swift platform, there is a functionality where you can be able to change your Lumi to your local currency, but you can only use it on the platform of Swift. So, in other words, you'll have to have somebody else who will accept who will be willing to exchange it for sell to you in their local currency, so that you can be able to, sell them your Lumis. So, that's the only way you can use it on the platform. You can't change your Lumis and then, like, for example, change it from Lumi to rents, like in South Africa, to rents, and then exchange or withdraw it from the Swift platform. You can't do that. Okay, so the aim now is for us to start using the Lumi, exchange Lumi for Lumi. So that's what we are aiming to achieve. That's our vision. So I don't know if I've answered your question.
Uh,
There was
just
another.
just if I
Yes.
can chip in there, Palisa. I think I see your question is more about how do you exchange your profit. So I'm gonna
Oh,
just
okay.
say to you, if you are making in and this is an example, if you are making 1,000 rand in Lumi and you try to exchange it to your rent, effectively you will be making zero rents in your local currency. So would you want to exchange that if you went through that process? So what I'm saying is the value of the Lumi is higher than the value of any fiat currency. So Lumi has intrinsic value. So it is prudent that you don't exchange it into any other fiat currency, but as Palesa says, spend the Lumi and get Lumi in Lumi.
Thank you for that, Lerato. There was okay, Benjamin, you had unmuted yourself. Do you have a question, Benjamin? Okay, he's not saying anything. Let me see if you've got other questions on the chat box. He says not local. How do you exchange your profit? Oh, okay. Larato has already addressed that. Um, do you have any other person who would like? Oh, Debbie.
Yes. Oh, what I was asking now, what if all right, for the Lumino, I just asked him this question. What if I would like to purchase a refrigerator? You think the Lumi can do so in exchange of that?
Okay, thank you for that question. Lerato, would you like to take that one?
I'm gonna defer this one to Dr. Chong based on
Okay,
proximity.
okay. Dr. Chong?
I'm sorry. I just took a mouthful of food.
Okay,
All right.
I will start you
So
off then, Dr.
I
Chong.
swallowed it whole. No, I swallowed it whole. Okay. All right. Now I'm okay. No. One, we can find somebody else um who has a fridge that they're selling, and they will send you in part Lumi and part Fiat. You see, one of the things we have to do is recognize that cannot just take the loan and buy things that we were normally set buying fiat unless we are producing something. That's the first thing. But this is
Okay.
why we need to understand we must be producing first before you can use your Lumi. Right now I'm selling my car to one of the ambassadors in SOAD, and I'm selling it in two-thirds, no, two-fifths Lumi and three-fifths Fiat.
Okay.
You understand? So this is how
Ye-
we're going to start selling things.
Okay.
Everything we're going to sell in part Lumi part. I sell all my for instance, I know that on shipping platform you can advertise something and you sell it in half Lumi. Lots of products selling like that. Half Lumi,
Okay.
half Fiat. So at
Oh,
least you get an opportunity to spend part of your Fiat.
okay. It's interesting.
Yeah, and some of the things I sell in full Lumi. That some of my consultations I do in full Lumi, some I do in part Lumi, whatever.
Okay, it's
But you get in
interesting.
touch with the person who send and you negotiate. But it has to be with somebody who has Lumi. So this is why
Okay.
we want to build this database of what do you have to sell. So you go to your house and say, okay, I want to get rid of that. I want to change the fridge. You can sell your fridge and buy another fridge and do it within the Lumi ecosystem.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
interesting. Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much,
Thank
Dr. Chong. Okay, we have just gone past our time. It's 30 minutes past 8 now. We apologize for going over time, but I think it's worth the time that we are spending here this evening, or afternoon or morning, wherever you may be calling in from. Ladies and gentlemen, if there are any more questions, you've got about a minute to do so as we wrap up our session for this evening. And we're going now to the announcements. Um, Lerato will be doing our announcements for this evening.
All right. Thank you, Balesa. And just quickly, the announcements. Just highlight next week, Thursday, on the 23rd of September, 7 p.m. Johannesburg time, standard South Africa Standard Time. That's GMT +2. We are going to be having the session around coaching the or training the coaches. So, and as Dr. Chong mentioned earlier, come to the session with people that are wanting to register so that we can actually go through real life examples, demonstrate how to actually register people, and also give people an understanding of what the whole Lumi SOAD Eco 6 agenda is. And on the 20th of September, the NetFem practical online sessions are happening. We are still on the module that deals with therapeutic guidance. Please get in touch on the Lumi for Africans at gmail.com group if you are not in any of the WhatsApp groups, so that you can be added over and above so that you can get the links to the session. And lastly, in terms of announcements, tomorrow, the 19th of September, 7 or 1900 South Africa Standard Time, that's GMT plus 2, we will be looking at building internal ecosystems. Building internal ecosystems. So this will be an interesting discussion. So please be sure not to miss that. All right, and I think that's about it from the announcement perspective. And just bearing in mind that we are a little bit over time, thank you so much, everybody. We are at Lumi for Africans with a K, Lumi for Africans at gmail.com. Hit us up. I have put in the details on what you need to send in terms of building the database. That's in the chat. Please look that up. I've also put in the email address. We have the Lumi for Africans YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that channel so that you are kept abreast with any recordings of sessions that we put up. So if you've missed any sessions, you'll be able to get them at the Lumi for Africans YouTube channel. Thank you. Palesa?
Hello?
Okay, Palesa. Palesa, back to you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I didn't see I was muted. I apologize for that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us today. I hope you had value for your time. Let's meet again tomorrow, same time, as we're going to be getting into our next summit. Thank you so much. We're going to leave the group open for now so you can take down all the details in the chat box of the information you will need to have when you send us the email in terms of what you want to buy, what you want to sell, those things. Ne? So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.